Welcome to EnVision Center News, where we discuss community impact and involvement with today's nonprofit leaders and philanthropists.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining us on the EnVision podcast. I am super stoked that you're here because we have been wanting to get in touch with you. You are, as far as I'm aware, the executive director of North Idaho Mountain Sports Education Fund.
Yes.
NIMSEF for short. And we wanted to have you on the podcast because my family has personally been impacted by your guys' nonprofit, and we just want to talk a little bit about how it was formed, who you are, and we have a guest star, my son, Idaho, who's also been a recipient of the NIMSEF scholarship. So introduce yourself, Jeff. Tell me a little bit about you and how you got involved in this.
Well, hi, and thanks for having me here. So my name's Jeff Rouleau. How did I get involved in this? Well, it started in 2010, so this is our 16th year we've been doing it.
Wow.
I used to be a ski instructor up at Schweitzer, and I spent most of my life skiing, and quite a bit of it here at Schweitzer and the Endpoint area. And the fourth grade kids from the area always get like a free ski day. And one year after their group came up and went skiing, the kids tend to write thank you notes for getting their free ski day. And they often send them to the ski school because that's the people they remember who they spent their time with, was their ski instructor.
Yeah.
And in one of our morning meetings, the boss was reading out loud some of these letters. And one letter was from a young boy in Clark Fork who said, "Thank you for the best day of my life ever, but I'll probably never see you again, so goodbye."
Oh.
And well, yeah, my first reaction was to kind of chuckle, but then it was like what you just did, like, oh, that's sad,
Yeah.
and that stuck in my brain. And then a few weeks later, I don't know if I should tell this part of the story, but it was a Sunday in March, beautiful day. I was with my friends. We went into lunch and had a few drinks, a few more drinks, and then went back out skiing. And I was a little drunk, and I lost my two friends that I was supposed to be skiing with. And I was at the quad, and they were at a different lift, and I was waiting, and they didn't show up, and I figured, all right, I missed them. So I went to go on, and there was some other people I knew coming on the lift, and I said, oh, can I ride up with you guys? And as I was riding up with them, I said, how much you been up skiing this year? And they said, well, this is our only day. And I said, why is it your only day? I said, well, we can't afford it. Mm-hmm. And that's when it clicked at that moment with the first one with the kid from Clark Fork and them. And these were people that, worked in the community. They're part of the community. They have good jobs. And I realized that just because you have a decent job and in this community doesn't mean you can afford skiing for a family.
Yeah.
So maybe because I was a little drunk, I don't know if it had something to do with it, but I got off the lift, said goodbye to them, and I skied down. I went into Tom Chassey's office at Schweitzer and said, I just got this idea of this program I'd like to create. What do you think? And he said, yeah,
Wow.
Go with it. And I said, you guys would support that? And he said, yeah, go with it. So then over that summer, I put together the idea of the program, got some other people to help me with that, and presented it to Schweitzer, and they said, yes, go ahead. And that was our first year, and we had 22 kids that year.
Wow, that is so cool.
We've been up over 100 a few times, and this year we have 90-something. So
wow, I love that story because I think it actually just shows such a very real, personal, local perspective. I mean, obviously, drunk or not, right? You're going out and having fun on the lift and run into some people that express to you a real need, and your brain just fired, and you're like, how can I solve that problem? And that's how nonprofits are started.
Yeah, that's how this one was started, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And that little boy from Clark Fork, what a cool story that put like that seed in your heart to reach the local youth with our snow sports that I and my son, Idaho, has come to grow and love. Real quick, Idaho, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Idaho. I've been snowboarding for like four years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even before that, you were skiing. So I think, so obviously, Angel, a client resource specialist here at Community Resource EnVision Center, but also avid community member, passionate about our local nonprofits, our local youth. And when I don't even remember how I found out about NIMSF. I think it was probably recommended to me by another person who had participated in it, because obviously raising my kids in this area, in a lot of youth groups and local programs. And when I heard about it, I was like, well, that sounds like cool. I did not realize what a huge impact it would have on us personally. Sorry, I might actually tear up a little bit. Because I never was involved in snow sports. I grew up in incredible poverty, and working my way out of that in an area like Sandpoint, where, like I said, like you said, just having a solid, good job doesn't mean you can afford, the luxury of skiing, which is funny when you think about it. It's literally right at our back door.
Right. And that's part of it. I mean, when you think about it, it seems to me it's not fair for the people that work in this community, because, this community, it takes everybody in the community for it to work well,
Yeah.
right? The ski area can't function if it doesn't have the restaurants and the shops in town, because who's going to want to come here and stay if there's no, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the restaurants and shops don't exist if there's no bank, if there's no gas station, if there's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no public roads people or
Yeah.
police or fire and on and on. So it isn't just, it's everybody combined that makes it all work.
Yeah.
And why should some of the kids get to participate and others can't?
Yeah.
And that seems like it's unfair.
Yeah.
And some of those kids, like imagine them sitting in school on Monday morning, and the kids in the classroom who maybe are a little better off are talking about what a great day they had at Schweitzer, and this kid, I've been there once, I'll never get to go again because we can't afford it.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't seem like it's right that we have that. So how do we fix it?
Yeah.
This is the answer, I guess.
It looks like you've been a huge contributor of fixing it in this community. My older kids, Deo's older brothers, we've been utilizing NIMSF, I think over 5 years now. And tell us a little bit about the graduation in the program. So when you first start, you have a flat fee, and as the kids progress, and tell me a little bit about, and maybe Adeo can speak to this too, about his experience in being the recipient of those scholarships. How do kids get the scholarships, and what do they have to do as a part of the program? You want to introduce that, Jeff, and then Adeo
Sure.
can follow up.
The process is, they simply go to our website and get an application and fill it out. And it's based upon need, economic need. So that's really what we're looking at. But we also ask the kids to participate in the program, in the fundraising, because we think if, one, it teaches a good work ethic to work for what you want in life, and second of all, teaches them, to value what they get. If something's just given to you that somebody else paid for, it doesn't mean as much as when you had to work for it as well.
Yeah.
So we ask in the first year, the kids that are signing up to pay the first $50 themselves, and we ask them to go out and work for the money themselves, and we ask the parent to have them do that. We can't enforce that because I would, but many parents do. I mean, I've seen the little kids come in with a jar of coins, and they did, they walked the neighbor's dog for 25 cents or something and put it in the jar, and they literally bring me a jar of coins, So that those kids did it, And I seen one kid came in, he was all dirty and wood chips on, and he was out cutting firewood to make his money.
That's
so,
awesome.
So that's cool. So that teaches them that as well as, getting them skiing. And then each year that price goes up a little bit, because we figure that, the first year they might have applied in September, they're meeting us in November, they had 2 months to earn their money. The next year we figure, well, they've had a whole year now.
They're prepared.
Plus. And also
Yeah.
we're working them towards the goal of taking it over themselves at someday.
Yeah.
So that's how that works for that part. And then also we ask them to participate by selling raffle tickets.
Yeah.
And that's an easy way for us to give them something to do.
Yeah. Well, Adeo, tell me a little bit about your experience being a recipient and the things that you may have had to do over the years to earn your right to ride.
What I did kind of was I just, towards the start, I would sell raffle tickets, like he said, and work for that money to pay it off. And then I would do like other things. And now at this point I have a job, so I'm able to work like for real to get that money to pay for it. And it's just like doing that helps me like, get lessons and gear and like good coaches and stuff.
Yeah, so the first couple of years, I think like you were really young, so I had you like I think doing snow shoveling or like extra chores around the house. And as you grown up, it's like, okay, man, now where's the dough? But it's been good for you, right? Tell me about that experience. Now, like, so you first started skiing, and that was fun, right? But then you discovered snowboarding. How has that impacted your life?
I mean, it's been a big impact because I used to ski, and then my mom got me into snowboarding, and then I tried it out, and I got good at it, and I did NIMSEF for it, and I was with like my first coach, then my second, third, and then it just kept going, and I grew and grew, and then eventually I've gotten like scholarships to travel like competitive teams, and it's just helped me like, especially because like of like how I grew up and stuff. It's just like such like a prize, I guess, to be able to have something I can do on like a weekend or like a day off school, and I actually love it and like want to do it every day. And
I know, always asking, can I take school off?
yeah, and it's just like I hope I like dream to get that certain point where I can profit off it and make my own living off of being able to do what I like to do.
Yeah, what you love. And this is what I love about NIMSEF is, like I was saying earlier, I grew up in abject poverty. So I was never afforded those privileges, like those opportunities. And I've done like my best to give my kids those opportunities, but those opportunities would not exist without NIMSEF. My son would have never learned that he was good at snowboarding and loved it without that program. And so like our family feels personally like so indebted like and grateful for that program because like Adeo said, now he just this year, because he's at one of the higher tier classes in fanatics under Marty Andrews now, he got a scholarship to join the Snowboard Northwest competitive team, and that is huge. You would have never known that you could do that without NIMSEF. So thanks, Jeff.
Good. That's stuff I like to hear.
So can you tell me some other testimonials, maybe of a couple, maybe kids that stand out in your mind that have benefited from the program, or families, or, and you don't have to answer right away, obviously. You can take a minute to think because we're on a edited podcast.
Right. Well, I can think of a couple things. I got to be careful how much I can't give away someone's identity or anything, but I remember years ago there was this one little boy, and he was in the homeless shelter. And I got to be careful, I'll cry. So he was in the homeless shelter with his mom, and he would come up there, and he would just be so downtrodden. He wouldn't look you in the eye. His eyes were always turned down. He was very quiet, meek, could hardly talk to you. He never had, like a good clothing, or many times he showed up without any lunch, because they were just in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But I remember I would go see him every day, because that was when I was still teaching, and I had a class in the Fanatics, and I would always go over to his table. He wasn't in my group, but I'd go to his table, and I'd bring him like a cupcake or something at lunchtime and just talk with him. And by the end of the program, he was smiling, he was looking up at me, he was talking with me, he was engaging. I could see the change in him. I don't know if it was just from that. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but I think it probably helped.
Yeah.
So I think it does do that. I think it gives kids a sense of, if they don't have it, maybe a sense of belonging to the community. And and when they hear, like I said earlier, about the kids talking in school, maybe in the families that have more money, and the kids are saying how they did this. Well, that kid can go, I did that too. So I'm like equal with you at this point. You know what I mean? It gives them a sense of belonging, or sense that they, that they're good enough to do this kind of thing, I think.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I think is positive about it.
Yeah. Would you agree, Adele?
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
Another story, this one's the one that makes me cry. There were these three girls, and they obviously didn't have much money. And one day in one of the classes, the instructor said to her, it was a really cold, windy day, "Where's your coat?" And she said, "Well, it's not my turn." And she says, what do you mean it's not your turn? She says, well, we only have one coat between the three of us, and we take turns who gets to use it. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, but yet she was still there. There was no excuse that I'm not going because it's too cold out. She wanted to be there. So obviously she loved it enough to suffer, without a coat. And then I told that story to Jamie Landwehr at the SARS group, and he went and got me 3 of their coats.
Oh, wow.
And so the kids had coats.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
And I just got to say, that is the impact of community. And like we're a ski town, right? We're like a mountain resort town. It, like you said, it doesn't make sense for our local youth to not be able to access the mountain in their backyard.
Right.
And what an amazing service you do to this community and to the youth. I mean, really, it's totally awesome. So how about, how can people get involved with NIMSEF, or how can they donate? What can they do? And what do you really hope for, like, the future of the program?
Well, as far as donating, I mean, that's easy. You can go to our website, and there's a PayPal button there to use, or there's the address to mail a check to.
Yeah.
So, obviously that's the thing that helps us the most, because every year we have to collect quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Like I said, we had 90-something kids this year. That's pretty substantial
crazy.
check that we have to write to Schweitzer. So, collecting money is always the high priority.
Yeah.
We own all our own equipment for the kids, and we've mostly gotten grants to buy that, and we have to upkeep it every year as well. So it's not just paying for the kids skiing, but it's also keeping up on our equipment and so forth. People will donate. We really like getting donation of clothing and goggles and helmets and that kind of thing. As you know, every year we have the big night up at Schweitzer when the kids come up and get all set up with their gear, and we put all the donated clothing out so that for those types of people that maybe the kid doesn't have a coat, they can grab one.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can find one that fits. So we like getting that kind of stuff.
Yes. We have definitely recycled ours
Yeah,
up
I remember
there.
you brought us up some stuff, and I remember you bringing us a snowboard, and that was great.
Yeah.
So we take equipment as well if it's newer. We can't use equipment that's too old because the insurance companies won't insure it, and then Schweitzer won't let us use it, and so we can't do that. So that equipment's harder to take than clothing, or money's the easiest.
Yeah,
So,
gotcha.
Yep.
And the website is?
NIMSEF.com.
Okay.
www.nimsef.com.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And Adeo, basically the provisions of the program, it's can you tell us clearly it's how many weeks of lessons, and do you know yet?
There's 8
Yeah.
weeks of lessons, and then
you get gear, right?
you get 8 weeks of lessons, gear, a free season pass,
Free.
free.
That you worked for. Yeah.
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah, it is. I was going to say that the gear, it's been like you've been borrowing gear for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And this year you finally you're 14 now, so you can get a job and you were able to buy your own snowboard.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sick.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and the raffle tickets. I will say my kids have bemoaned having to sell the raffle tickets every year because, we got to go, downtown or ask people. But it's good because it encourages them, to be a part of their, they got to work for it. And this year, gosh, I can't wait to turn in our tickets. I think we sold over like 150.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. So I'm just so excited that you joined us to talk about what NIMSEF does for a community. Obviously, it's a huge impact, like 90 kids this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. And it's, for local kids, for local families, people who need it, and eventually, we'll be in a position where we can give back too. And I think that's just such an awesome example of community, especially in a ski town. Is there anything else you want to share with us about NIMSEF or about yourself and about the future of what you hope for?
Well, I hope it keeps going. At some point, I'll have to have somebody take it over for me, So if anyone's out there is interested, give me a call, and you can get involved now if you want. But someday I'm going to need someone to take it over, hopefully, so it doesn't die.
Yeah.
I just want to keep it going the way it's been going. We've been doing well, We've had over 1,000 scholarships given out last year.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
So, 2000 will be our next goal, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff, and thanks, Dale, for joining us. And that is it.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. For more information, you can go to crecIdaho.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again soon.